Trinidad and Tobago, August 11, 1982. The oil boom was over and a new financial entity was being born to meet the needs of the iron and steel workers, the SECU Employee Credit Union, one without any certainty of a future. Created to help the staff, few knew how long the parent company would last.
A lot of people were crying. It was a government-owned entity. A lot of people were crying to close down the steel mill. But even while that was happening and the steel mill was losing a lot of money, the credit union was growing rapidly.
The philosophy was embraced by everyone. If we pool our resources, then we'll be able to help ourselves rather than looking at an external entity, which we may not be based on the unstableness of the economy and the fact that, things were uncertain, whether we will have the financial profile and so forth to access external funding. So it was basically, self-survival, self-interest among the employees and workers that prompted that whole impetus to a credit union. It was hard, it was tough, but people stuck with it. They were committed to it, and here it is after 30 years.
A group of professionals would get together to form the credit union and approach Mr. Pascal Marcelin, one of the first board members and a former president, to be part of the new venture.
I attended that first board meeting, which was held in the office of a manager. Mr. Ruben Farrell was the finance manager at SECU at that time. There was about 42 people, and everybody was crammed into this office. I didn't know what I was headed to, but I just told this at the first meeting. And I was elected on that board. And after 30 years, I'm still here on the board. So that's how I got involved in the credit union.
It was the birth of what is now known as the Steel Employees Credit Union, SECU Credit Union. The interim board members would make a firm decision. The first 2 years must be spent establishing a base, no loans would be given, and by December 14, 1982, the SECU Credit Union was registered and began operating out of a prefab container.
We call it a porter camp. It was leftovers from the construction of the iron and steel company, a prefabricated. It was not a container, it was a prefab building. Post that, people started using containers and so forth, but those days they call them porter camps, basically a prefab building that looked like a container.
The long journey had begun and volunteerism was critical.
The credit union was based on a very solid foundation of a group of people, I would say very humble people, who did not know anything about the credit union movement, who were hungry to learn about it, who had a lot of passion, who believe in the fellow men, who believe in the whole cooperative spirit, and who walk the talk and have set a really solid foundation on which SECU has grown over the years.
Right now you have loans officers and branches. Back then, there were no loans officers. There was one member of staff. Eventually it became 3 who did everything. Members assisted in terms of all the activities of the credit union.
The first loan would be given in January 1984 with a share capital of just over $350,000, but growth was steady, and by the end of the first 10 years, the credit union had granted over $40 million in loans. The credit union was becoming well known for its leadership.
I think the leaders walk the talk in that what we preach about cooperative and corporatism in our community, we practice it.
Qualified people, the strength of the staff and the caliber of the people to assist in terms of implementation. We have tremendous, to be able to expand into those branches, we have to have staff, and they rose to the occasion. We believe in an internal movement of staff and upward mobility, and we have a good cadre of young people, professionally qualified, who have been entrusted with these new roles as branch managers. They embrace it and performing, excellent.
But then they took a bold step to expand beyond their safety zone with the coming on stream of Centrin, and to better reflect the membership profile, the name was changed from the SECU Employee Credit Union to the Steel Employees Credit Union on May 2, 1991. and eventually the board decided to expand its services into the community.
That was not just an easy decision. That was not an easy decision, because there was a certain comfort level in having the in-house credit union, because you have a stable workforce, you have guaranteed salary reductions from people in terms of paying their loans. When you go into the community, whilst there's the attraction of a larger membership and larger income, there's also greater risk. So one of the things is now you're dealing with people who you really don't know.
But we have put systems in place in terms of staffing and resources to ensure that delinquency is controlled and managed. And I must say that we are one of the credit unions that have the lowest level of delinquency right now in the system.
With all the challenges that SECU might have had, we always maintain a strong financial backing. And even with the delinquent members, sometimes things happen in life, experiences, traumas. So what we try to do is we try to have a one-on-one with them. We encourage them to come in, we sit with them, and we try to work out the best way that we can help them. And I felt that with our delinquency department and team, some directors on the committee, it is working because, as I said before, it's about members.
SECU Credit Union would spread its reach with offices in Chaguanas and Princestown, and it would be no easy ride in the fiercely competitive financial industry, but SECU would surmount each challenge with prudent management.
SECU, I would say, since I've been here, has been an organization that is very conservative. Our growth is always measured. We do not take unnecessary risk, so that our risk profile is well controlled. And for this reason, our members feel safe and comfortable.
We treated everybody fairly, everyone was treated equally. But I think far and foremost, there was a very high cooperative spirit. We did a lot of things that impacted positively on people's life, and therefore, by demonstrating that, it encouraged people to join and encouraged people to be part of the team.
You're more than a customer with a credit union that cares. At SECU, you're a member. We'll ease your financial fears. SECU Credit Union, financial services and more.
Now with a membership of 14,000 and a whopping asset base of $145 million, the leadership has succession planning at the forefront through a junior executive program.
The junior executive program was initiated in January 2011. with the aim being to train and mentor the youth of SECU on the runnings of the board, the credit and supervisory committees, and the overall runnings of the credit union on the whole. This is with regard to the hope that one day these trainees would take the position of the mentors and confirm the continuity of the organization. It's really about succession planning and mentorship of the youth, giving them skills and knowledge to take them on to the future.
We feel that young people have a lot to provide in terms of our development. The credit union system as a whole has not catered adequately for young people. Mostly people in advanced age are the ones who normally would put their money into credit unions.
As president of the junior executives, I am personally mentored by the president of the board, Mrs. Deborah Pear-Daniel, on the roles and functions of a president of the credit union. I am taught on how to conduct meetings and social events, about the etiquette and tact required of a president of a credit union, and this training trickles down to the other junior executives. We've been sent to seminars and education conferences, learning about the values and principles of a credit union and about the cooperative spirit. And I really want to send this message to the rest of the youth of the credit union and the wider community.
2012 saw an expansion of services in Tobago as well, where a new office has been opened 8 years after SECU's first intervention.
Through a request from Tobagonians themselves, because some of them had visited Trinidad to do business at our head office here, and they were so pleased with the service they got. In fact, one gentleman, he was so pleased that he took the information back to Tobago, and he got some of his colleagues, 24 more of them, to sign a petition asking us to come up there. So we arranged a seminar down in Charlottesville at the public library, and since then the membership came on board. But
The office finally opened in September of this year, 2012, and the whole process began somewhere in 2008 when we were at Bonaccord, when they used to do weekly visits of probably, I think, one Thursday per month. The Thursday in every week they will come up, and it started really in Charlottesville on a kind of community basis, where we were told about this credit union, and Mr. Alfred, being the manager at the time, came to Tobago on a membership drive, and there is where we really got started.
Quite a lot of business has been generated actually, and new members have come on board as well. So I would say that that project so far is successful, but our ultimate goal will be to establish a permanent presence.
30 years of solid growth and applaudable management, SECU Credit Union continues to look further ahead.
I'm looking at ways that we could come out the box, and one of the things that we have been doing right now is like risk-based lending. And these are some of the things that is not the norm for SECU. We're very conservative. Remember, we started with ISCAT, so that was that catchment of people. But to be able to survive in this financial times, I think we need to be a little more innovative, and that's the way that we want to go, but not putting the credit union or the member shares at risk.
SECU Credit Union continues to grow as a powerhouse. From the end of October 2011 to the end of October 2012, assets grew by $16.5 million, a 13% growth to what is now an asset base of $145.2 million. Loans to members also increased from $111.6 million to $126.6 million in the corresponding period. At present, there's a total investment portfolio of $13.6 million, of which $5.2 million is quoted investment and $8.3 million unquoted. The member shares as of October 31st, 2012 showed a value of $119.5 million, a 13% increase over the same period at the end of October 2011. The number of members also increased over the period by 905, a 7% growth. And while in the years gone by there's been a heavy reliance on a bank overdraft, prudent management has changed that, resulting in major financial cost savings that saw expenditure go from $1 million to $42,000. SECU Credit Union would take on a new look on March 23, 2011, in a rebranding ceremony to launch the new logo of SECU Credit Union. Known for giving among the highest dividends in the industry over the years, SECU is giving much more.
If you have an emergency, you could call the top 5 medical centers in Trinidad, like Sinclair Medical. You get that assistant quickly. You go there, they do all the administration for you. So there's an ease of reference. So you're there and you just have somebody to take care of you. It's an extra cost of $10. SECU is paying that for their members. And the reason why I felt it is important for members, because sometimes crises happen. I had it personally in my life. Unfortunately, I lost my loved one. And you see all the red tapes that has to go through when situations like that. And I felt that we need to make life easy for our members. So we have introduced that to our members.
SECU Credit Union sees its role as helping others from all aspects in culture, in health, sugar and energy, education, and religious holidays. And behind the doors, staff who care and look out for each other.
The friendliness among the staff. Yes, there is rivalry, but rivalry in a good way, in that we want everyone to work together. So we all work together as a unit, especially at the branch in Princestown. We work together. No one looks at their job as this is my job. Everyone helps one another.
Well, most of the staff, we have a nice, fun relationship. We work. If you have your serious time, you have your serious time, and then when it's time for fun, we just have fun. We could relate. We're not perfect in the sense that you might have the little ifs and the bits and buts, but at the end of the day, we try to overcome that and do what we do best.
I love the way how the credit union provides me with the opportunity for growth, because since I've been here, I've been given the opportunity to act in several positions, and it has provided me with a sense of enrichment in my life here.
This is only the beginning for SECU Credit Union. 30 years of service and 30 years of fond memories, like Karen's.
When we moved from the container at the Ispat plant to this new building, I think it was a great achievement acquiring a building of our own. So that was one of my fondest moments, moving from there to here.
And Gary's.
The first week I came to work here, I wasn't familiar with the ground and the chairs and stuff like that. Sat down in the chair flip up from underneath me. Landed on the ground in front of like countless members, and everybody was like, "You okay, okay?" I lied down on the ground for a couple of seconds, and everybody was like, "You okay?" They came out, but I was like, "Okay." These people started to laugh, so I started to laugh too. It was fun in the sense that, you know, the members were there, they were concerned, they started to laugh. It was really, really, you know, out of the ordinary. Something had never happened to me before. I never had a problem. They rectified the problem though, so.
Supporting expectations.
Caring for you.
Supporting expectations.
Caring for you.
Supporting expectations.
Caring for you.
That's what SECU is about.
More than a customer with a credit union that cares. With SECU, you'll remember. We'll ease your financial fears. SECU Credit Union, financial services and more. Helping build our communities, securing futures for sure. SECU Credit Union, it's yours and it's mine. We're building the nation, one family at a time.
SECU Credit Union, locations at California, Chaguanas, and Princestown.